Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and really get to the heart of the sources you need to master. Today, we're plunging into something truly foundational. It touches almost everything we do, public speaking, our mission. To pull out the sharpest, most useful bits from this comprehensive course pack you've given us, Belficki's course pack for public speaking.
Yeah, it's a great topic for a deep dive
Yeah.
because, public speaking isn't just standing on a stage, not at all. It's a core skill. It affects personal growth, your career, even, bigger societal changes. It's really about effective communication, and it's the most powerful form.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because this deep dive, it's not just about writing a good speech, is it? We're going to cover, well, everything from getting over that fear, the anxiety. It's how we're really mastering persuasion and even getting into the tricky world of nonverbal cues across different cultures. And what's really powerful and why I think this is so relevant for you listening is that this stuff, it's not just for a podium. It's crucial for everyday chats, for getting ahead at work, and honestly, just building real confidence in almost any situation. So let's kick off with just how significant this skill really is. We tend to think maybe formal talks, presentations, but this Belfaki's course pack, it really paints a much bigger picture, shows public speaking as like a strategic tool. More than sharing ideas, it's a powerful tool for influencing people, inspiring them, really connecting. For our listener, what's maybe one professional benefit from the course material that jumps out as maybe a bit surprising?
Well, the pack makes a really strong case for its role in leadership, effective leadership. It's not just, telling people what to do. It's about painting a clear vision, something convincing, getting teams motivated, building trust. That's huge. Without that ability to articulate the vision clearly, even brilliant ideas can just fizzle out. Oh, and it's also vital for things like crisis communication.
Yeah.
Staying clear and calm under pressure, that can save a company.
That's a really important point, not just delivering information, but actively shaping how people see things and getting them to act. And you mentioned leadership, which often means being more visible, right?
Hmm.
The pack also links this to personal growth. How does tackling something like public speaking actually change us beyond just the task itself?
Oh, it's massive for self-assurance.
Yeah.
Just the process,
Mhm.
preparing, practicing, and then actually doing it, delivering the message, even a short one. It builds resilience. The course pack really emphasizes that getting over that public speaking hump. It boosts confidence that just spills into other parts of your life. It also helps with understanding different cultures, makes you more adaptable, opens up networking doors that might stay shut otherwise. Ultimately, it lets you craft and deliver messages that truly land, emotionally and intellectually.
So yeah, much more than just talking. It's about influence, understanding, empowering yourself. But to get all that power, we often have to face a pretty big wall first.
Absolutely. We have to talk about public speaking anxiety. Glossophobia, as the source material calls it, it's very real. And what's fascinating here, the course pack describes it as the king among social anxieties. So this isn't just nerves, it's actually a type of social anxiety disorder. And the pack explains how it's tied to the amygdala, the brain's emotion center. It can trigger that fight or flight response based on bad memories or even just imagining things going wrong.
Oh, yeah. Anyone who's felt it knows. The symptoms can be so physical, the course pack lists them all. Heart pounding, breathing fast, sweating, shaking, that horrible feeling of dread, trouble concentrating, feeling weak, even stomach issues. And it often comes down to that basic fear, right? Fear of being judged or humiliated or rejected. But what does the source say about people who speak publicly all the time? Are they just immune? Do they not feel it?
Not at all. No, the course pack is really clear on this. Even seasoned speakers, acknowledged ones, they still feel anxiety. The difference is they've learned to control their nerves, to channel that energy maybe. The material points to a few causes. Personal stuff, the environment itself, tech issues, and yeah, definitely prior bad experiences that can linger. The key takeaway is recognizing it as step one. Then you use strategies to manage it. You don't let it shut you down.
Okay, so once we start tackling that internal struggle, the next big step, according to the course pack, is shifting focus.
Yeah.
Outward, understanding your audience. It calls this a major part of the speech-making process. So what does that actually mean in practice? How does knowing who you're talking to change your whole approach?
It's basically your secret weapon. Audience analysis lets you figure out the makeup, the characteristics of your listeners. And that's crucial for connecting emotionally, for being more persuasive, for building trust. The course breaks down into three main buckets. First is demographics. So thinking about age, not just the number, but maybe generational viewpoints. Education level affects jargon, complexity, occupation. What do they already know professionally? Second, Psychographics, this goes a bit deeper. It's about their emotional triggers, what actually moves them. Their attention span, maybe use visuals, rhetorical questions to keep them engaged, and yeah, understanding their sense of humor, if appropriate. And the third one, super important, disposition and knowledge. You need to get a handle on their concerns, their interests, attitudes, beliefs, and critically, what they already know about your topic. This isn't just about, not insulting their intelligence, as the pack says. It's about finding the right starting point, so you're not boring them with basics or flying way over their heads.
That's fascinating. It's like you building a bridge to them before you even open your mouth. The course pack even lists ways to do this. Surveys, just watching people, research, engaging during the talk itself. For someone busy, maybe a professional listener, what's one efficient way the pack suggests to get a quick read?
Yeah, it highlights combining observation with some smart research, especially using public info like social media maybe. You look for common themes in what they talk about or care about. That helps make your message instantly feel more relevant to them. Okay, so beyond the words themselves, nonverbal communication is huge, really critical. It can totally reinforce what you're saying, or it can completely contradict it, which is, well, powerful. And this brings up a really important point because, as the pack states, different cultures have their own set of norms. So how on earth do we navigate this? How do we avoid messing up, maybe offending someone without even realizing it?
Right. This section of the course pack had some examples that just blew my mind, like take a smile, seems universal, right? Happiness. But the pack points out, in China, it might mean politeness or respect or even feeling uncomfortable. Totally different vibe. What's another one that really shows how a simple gesture can go wrong?
Oh, hand gestures are classic minefields. That OK sign, thumb and index finger circle, means all good in many Western places. But the course pack is explicit. In Brazil, it's highly offensive, like middle finger offensive or beckoning someone with a curled finger. Might seem normal somewhere, but it can actually be illegal in the Philippines. And it's considered rude in China, Malaysia, Singapore. The potential for misunderstanding is just enormous.
Wow, that really hammers home the need for cultural awareness. Humility, really. What about something as basic as eye contact? In the West, we're taught it shows sincerity, respect. Does that apply everywhere?
Not even close. The pack reveals that in places like Japan, China, and among Australian indigenous cultures, direct eye contact, especially with elders or superiors, that can be seen as disrespectful, maybe even challenging. And in some more conservative Middle Eastern cultures, it's just not appropriate for women to make direct eye contact with men. It just shows our defaults are, well, culturally learned. They aren't universal truths. Even nodding, we think, yes. But in Bulgaria, Turkey, Yugoslavia, Albania, the pack says it means no. A complete flip.
Unbelievable. It really underlines that these nonverbal signals aren't just small things, they're deeply coded. Knowing these differences isn't just polite, it's essential for actually communicating effectively and respectfully, making sure your message lands right. #5. The speech's purpose and verbal craftsmanship. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's talk about the fundamental written for giving a speech. The course pack boils down the main intentions to 3. Inform, persuade, or entertain. Now, we kind of get those generally, but what's the key strategic takeaway from the pack about choosing your purpose? Any pitfalls?
The main insight, what the pack calls the GPS for your speech, is that you need to pick one main specific purpose, trying to do all 3 equally. Inform, persuade, and entertain. Usually just results in a muddy, unfocused message. So, for example, your specific purpose might be, explain how deforestation impacts climate and suggest ways listeners can help. See how precise that is? It says exactly what you want the audience to get out of it. Without that sharp focus, your message just loses punch.
Makes perfect sense. Clear purpose, clear message. And speaking of clarity, the course pack then gets into the words themselves, verbal communication, linguistic accuracy. It talks about denotative versus connotative meaning. Most of us sense words have layers, but how does a speaker use this strategically to connect better?
It's all about precision. Denotative is the dictionary definition. Literal. Hot means high temperature. Simple. But connotative, that carries all the baggage, the feelings, the subjective stuff. Hot can mean attractive, right? So a smart speaker knows that denotative gives you accuracy, but connotative language, that creates feeling, resonance, like using the word home connoting warmth, security, instead of just residence, which is purely denotative, big emotional difference. Or eagle, it's a bird, denotatively, but connotatively. Strength, freedom, patriotism, maybe?
That's a really powerful way to add depth. The course also pushes for concrete words, carrot, door, over abstract ones like humility or philosophy, and it really emphasizes cutting out wordiness. It seems the theme is just removing potential confusion, keeping attention.
Exactly that. Concrete words are just easier to grasp, less open to weird interpretations. They grab attention better. And to make ideas really vivid, the source talks about imagery, using similes and metaphors. Similes compare using like or as busy as a bee. Explicit comparison. Metaphors compare without like or as being a fish out of water. Implicit. Both are fantastic tools. They add color, make abstract stuff concrete, explain the unfamiliar. They really pull your listener in.
Okay, so we've shaped the message, picked our words carefully, we understand our audience, but even the best message needs to be, well, delivered, brought to life. The Course Pack calls our voice and body our instruments. So, expert, what does good delivery really mean when we think about using our voice?
It really means conscious control. Your volume needs to be right for the room. Not too quiet, obviously, but not yelling either. Pitch, the high and low of your voice needs variety. Monotone is deadly, right? It puts people to sleep. You vary pitch to emphasize meaning. Your rate or speed should also change. Faster for excitement, maybe slower for serious points. And pauses. Pauses are incredibly powerful. Use them. Mark the end of an idea, build suspense, let something sink in. The pack specifically warns against those fillers. Vocalize pauses. Why? Because they can make you seem less sure, maybe even deceptive.
Guilty. I know I sometimes throw in when I'm like searching for the next word. What's the advice for actually breaking that habit? It feels so automatic sometimes.
Yeah, it does. The material suggests practicing just pausing, deliberately. Well, the silence, it might feel awkward at first, but it's better than fey.
Oh.
Also, slowing down your overall pace helps, gives your brain a bit more time to catch up, reduces the need for those fillers. Now, flipping to body language, what are the key visual cues the Course Pack says we need to get right?
Right, the body definitely talks. Personal appearance is first. Dress appropriately, groom well, it sets a tone, affects how you feel, how you're seen. Then body posture. The goal is calm, poised, confident. The pack says get set before you start. Arrange notes, make eye contact first. Stand straight, shoulders relaxed, hands ready for natural gestures. Gestures shouldn't distract, they should clarify or add emphasis.
And then, the big one, the windows of the soul, eye contact. The Course Pack says it's key for conveying confidence, sincerity, conviction, the advice. Make contact with the whole audience. Scan the room. Make everyone feel included. Don't just lock onto one friendly face. It builds that connection that words alone just can't achieve.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Managing fear, crafting messages, delivery. But the Course Pack flags persuasion as often the most complex and challenging goal, especially with tricky, controversial topics. And it introduces this really interesting idea, like a mental chess match between the speaker and the listener. Expert, how does thinking of it as a mental dialogue change how we should prepare to persuade?
It completely shifts the preparation. This mental dialogue idea means you, the speaker, have to actively anticipate what your audience might be thinking, their potential objections, their questions, their counterarguments, and you need to address those within your speech. You're basically having the debate for them preemptively. It forces you to really pressure test your own points. And to do this effectively, the course details those three classic methods of persuasion: logos, pathos, and ethos.
Right, the Greek terms, most people have probably heard them, but what's the strategic angle for each, especially if your audience might, already disagree with you?
Okay, logos is the appeal to logic, reason. It's about facts, evidence, sound arguments, making your case believable. But if the audience is skeptical, just throwing facts isn't enough. You have to structure them, build an undeniable logical flow. Pathos is the appeal to emotion. The course uses the example of charity ads showing starving kids that evokes compassion, drives action. Speakers use fear, pride, anger, guilt, hope, all sorts of emotions to connect and move people. The trick is making it genuine, connecting to shared values, not just manipulating feelings. And finally, ethos. This is all about the speaker's credibility, your character, your expertise. It breaks down into competence. Do you know your stuff? Are you intelligent, experienced? And character, are you sincere? Trustworthy. Do you care about the audience? The pack also mentions credibility is dynamic. You have some starting out initial, you build it during the speech, derived, and you leave with a final impression, terminal. It's always evolving.
So it's not just what you argue, but who the audience perceives you to be. That makes sense. The pack gives some practical tips too, right, to actually boost that ethos, which seems vital for persuasion.
Absolutely. It suggests actively showing your competence, maybe mentioning your expertise, if relevant. Finding common ground is huge. Showing you share their values or concerns builds trust. And, maybe most crucially, delivering the speech fluently, with expression and with real conviction. It's about convincing their minds, yes, but also convincing them you are a believable, trustworthy source. # outro go on.
Wow, what a comprehensive journey through Belfricki's course pack for public speaking. We started with just how important it is everywhere in life, then tackled that fear, that anxiety. We looked at really understanding your audience, especially those tricky cultural cues, got into crafting the message verbally and non-verbally, and finally dug into persuasion with logos, pathos, and ethos. These really aren't just skills for big stage, are they? They're tools for, well, any time we communicate.
Exactly. If you zoom out, maybe the big picture is that public speaking isn't about being perfect. It's more about connection, understanding. It's about consciously using all these tools we've talked about to get your message across clearly, impactfully, whether that's a formal talk or just, a chat with a colleague. These insights, they're really a guide for constantly getting better at how we connect, how we influence, how we inspire people every day.
So maybe a final thought for you to take away. The next time you're listening to someone speak, or maybe sharing your own ideas, think about not just what's being said, but how. What are those silent messages flying back and forth, maybe across different backgrounds? What assumptions might you be making about a simple nod or a smile? Things that aren't universal. And how might knowing that change how you approach your own communication? Something to think about. Until next time, keep diving deep.